What if this heartbreak, this loss, this thing you're begging Allah to undo, is actually the exact moment He's been waiting to start the best chapter of your life? You can't see it yet, and that's why I need you to hear this to the very last second. 1. The night Allah was closer than you knew. It wasn't the night you felt strong. It was the night you felt completely emptied, like every ounce of strength had been drained out of you. The night when you didn't even have the words for your dua anymore, only tears that wouldn't stop falling. The night when your chest felt so heavy it hurt to breathe, and you wished you could just escape from your own thoughts for a moment. You sat there on your prayer mat, your body still but your heart restless, your head in your hands, wondering if your prayers had been forgotten. You whispered the same words you had whispered before, the same pain, the same questions, until your voice broke into silence. You thought nothing was happening. The room felt empty. The night felt long. But in that exact moment, in a world you couldn't see or touch, things were moving in ways beyond your imagination. The angels were sent not just to record your du'as, but to stand beside you in that unseen space between your despair and Allah's mercy. They carried your broken whispers up to the Lord who never sleeps. Every tear that rolled down your face was counted. Every sigh from your chest was heard. Every beat of your heart was known. While you were sitting there thinking nothing was changing, doors you had been running toward were already being closed, gently, firmly, out of mercy. These were doors you thought would bring you happiness, but Allah knew they were paths that would lead to harm you couldn't yet see. He shut them before you could step through, even though you begged for them to open. And while you were questioning why He was silent, Allah was already moving you away from people who would have drained your soul, from plans that would have stolen your peace, from opportunities that would have taken you further from Him. Some roads you thought were the only way forward were erased from your path that night. Not because you were unworthy, but because they were too small for the story Allah was writing for you. He was redirecting you toward roads you had never considered, roads that would one day lead to the kind of peace you can't imagine right now. It wasn't chaos, even though it felt like your life was falling apart. It was precision, a rewrite so perfect that not one detail was out of place. A conversation you never had, a meeting that never happened, a message that never came. All of it was part of that delicate rearranging of your destiny. Every delay was placed exactly where it needed to be. Every no was timed, so it would save you in ways you may not understand for years. That night wasn't a pause in your story. It wasn't a dead end. It was the night Allah turned the page and began a new chapter, one written with more love for you than you have for yourself. It was the night the script of your life was quietly taken out of your hands and placed fully in His, so the ending would be one you'd thank Him for forever. It was the night you thought nothing happened, but everything changed. 2. The silence that spoke louder than words. It's one of the most difficult feelings in the world, to speak to Allah with all the weight of your heart, to pour your soul into dua, and to be met with nothing but silence. No sign, no sudden relief, no change in the situation, just the same heavy reality staring back at you. You sit there wondering, did my words even reach Him? Am I doing something wrong? Is He ignoring me? And the longer the silence stretches, the louder those doubts can feel. The whispers of shaitan feed the uncertainty, making you believe that Allah's quiet means Allah's absence. But it doesn't. It never has. Allah's silence is not a sign that He's turned away. It's a sign that something is happening beyond what your eyes can see. It is a silence filled with movement, a pause filled with preparation, a delay filled with divine arrangement. Sometimes, the most life-changing things happen with no sound at all. When a seed is buried underground, you hear nothing, you see nothing, and yet life is being formed in complete silence. Roots are growing deep into the soil, drawing strength for the storm it will one day face. Your dua is like that seed. It may be hidden, it may be silent, but it is alive. And just like that seed, if you could see what's happening beneath the surface, you would understand why the silence is necessary. If Allah answered you the moment you asked, you might not be ready to receive it. Your heart might not be able to carry the blessing without breaking under its weight. The people you need to meet might not be in the right place yet. The road you need to walk might not be safe to travel yet. So instead of rushing, Allah slows the story down. He gives you silence, not to punish you, but to give your life the time it needs to catch up to the prayer you made. Think about the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam after the first revelation. The words, "read," were given to him, and then silence. Days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months, and the revelation did not return right away. Imagine his longing to hear the words of Allah again. Imagine the questions. Imagine the people around him saying, "Your Lord has abandoned you." But then, Surah Ad-Duha came down like rain on a dry land. "Your Lord has not forsaken you, nor has he hated you." And with those words, the silence was revealed for what it truly was. Not abandonment, but preparation. Your silence is your own Surah Ad-Duha in the making. It is Allah saying, "My servant, I have not left you. I am working on something you will thank me for." In the silence, Allah is editing your story. He's erasing what would harm you. He's inserting what will strengthen you. He's shifting timelines so blessings arrive at the exact moment they will be most powerful in your life. If you read the story now, it wouldn't make sense. You'd say, why did this opportunity vanish? Why did this person leave? Why did this plan collapse? But when you see the ending Allah has written, you will realize the silence was the most important chapter. There is another secret in the silence closeness. When Allah delays an answer, you keep coming back to Him. When He holds back what you're asking for, your hands keep rising in dua. And every single time you turn to Him, your connection grows deeper, your heart softens more, your love for Him strengthens. The silence becomes a training ground, teaching you to rely completely on Allah, not on the blessing, not on the plan, not on the outcome. Think about how you pray when you are desperate. The words are simpler, the tears come quicker, the distractions disappear. That is the purity Allah loves. Your voice stripped of pride, your heart laid bare. And every second you spend in that state, you are being shaped into someone who is ready for what you're asking for. Your soul is being prepared to hold it without losing the one who gave it. The silence is Allah's way of protecting you from an answer that would damage you. It's His way of holding you in place until the wrong people fade away. It's His way of giving you time to grow into the kind of person who can carry the blessing without it becoming a burden. And when the silence finally breaks, it won't be just an answer. It will be the perfect answer, arriving in the perfect moment, in the perfect way. It will be so fitting, so precise, that you'll look back at the months or years of waiting and say, "Ya Allah, if I had known this is what you were preparing, I would have waited even longer." So don't see the silence as empty. It's not empty. It's full of angels moving, full of hearts being softened, full of paths being cleared. It's the quiet hum of your destiny being arranged with care. And one day, you'll see that the silence was not a delay in your life. It was the foundation of everything good that came after. It was Allah's way of saying, "I love you too much to answer you too soon." 3. When your heartbreak became your shield. It's strange how a single moment can change the way your heart beats. 1 minute, you feel secure. You have a plan. You have someone or something you think will be there forever. And then, in the blink of an eye, it's gone. You remember that day. That call, that message, that silence that told you something had shifted. You felt it in your bones before you even heard the words. The person you loved stopped loving you. The place you trusted closed its doors on you. The dream you worked for crumbled in your hands. You sat there, unable to move. Your chest felt like it was caving in. Your breath came in short bursts. Your mind kept repeating, "Why? Why now? Why me?" And if you're honest, you thought Allah had turned away from you. You thought this heartbreak was proof that He wasn't listening, that He didn't care about your tears. But that night, the night you thought Allah abandoned you, was actually the night Allah came closer to you than anyone ever had. Because this heartbreak is not just pain, it was protection, a shield made of pure mercy, built to stand between you and what would have harmed you in ways you couldn't imagine. You saw beauty, you saw comfort, you saw a future, but Allah saw the truth behind it. He saw the harm hidden in the corners, the traps you didn't even know were being set, the slow erosion of your peace that would have happened if He let you stay. Sometimes the very thing you think will save you is the thing that will quietly destroy you over time. Sometimes the person you think will be your light will slowly pull you into darkness without you even noticing. And sometimes the dream you're chasing is leading you away from the one who gave you the ability to dream at all. Allah knew, and so, in His mercy, He broke your heart before it could break your soul. It doesn't look like mercy at first, because mercy doesn't always come wrapped in warmth and comfort. Sometimes mercy comes in the form of a wound, a sharp cut that bleeds but removes the poison that would have spread if it stayed inside. That heartbreak was that cut. It was the moment Allah said, "My servant, I will not let you destroy yourself chasing what you think is good, while I can see what it will cost you. You think the cost would have been small, but Allah sees the years you would have lost, the tears you would have shed alone, the prayers you would have delayed or abandoned, the way your heart would have hardened without you realizing it." So He stepped in, not with a gentle nudge, but with a force strong enough to rip you away from what was hurting you. Yes, it hurt more than anything. Yes, it made you feel like your chest was caving in. Yes, you hated the way the days felt empty afterwards, but it also freed you. That heartbreak freed you from chains you didn't even know you were wearing. It freed you from building your worth around someone else's approval. It freed you from depending on a person for happiness that should only come from Allah. It freed you from a life that would have slowly drained your soul and left you empty. Right now, you might still be too close to the pain to see the protection. You might still be replaying conversations, still wondering if you could have changed the outcome, still blaming yourself for things Allah had already decreed. But the day will come when you will look back and say, "That was the moment Allah saved me." Not the moment He abandoned me, not the moment He punished me, the moment He rescued me from what I thought I needed. The Qur'an tells us, perhaps you hate a thing and it is good for you, and perhaps you love a thing and it is bad for you. Allah knows, while you do not know. 216. Your heart knows how it feels right now. Allah knows what it's being saved from in the future. If Allah had let that person stay, you would have given pieces of yourself away until nothing was left. If He had let that door remain open, you would have walked through it smiling, and later realized it led to a place you couldn't escape from. Instead, Allah closed it, quickly, painfully, completely, and though it felt like cruelty, it was actually the kindest thing He could have done for you. Because now, your nights are filled with dua again. Your eyes are wet with tears for Him instead of for them. Your heart is learning to lean on the one who will never leave. And the beautiful thing is, when Allah removes something harmful, He doesn't just leave you empty. He clears the space so He can fill it with something better. Better doesn't always come right away. Better sometimes takes time. Better sometimes means being alone with Allah until you see yourself the way He sees you. As worthy, as loved, as cared for. One day, you will meet the blessing this heartbreak made room for. And when you do, you will thank Allah for every tear you cried, because they were the water that grew the new life He was planting in you. So tonight, if your heart is aching, know that Allah's hand is between you and what you cannot see. Know that this pain is not random. It is a shield, and behind that shield is a future you will be grateful for. A future you couldn't have reached without first walking through this heartbreak. For the dua you forgot, but Allah didn't. You don't even remember the exact words anymore. The night you made that dua feels so far away, like a moment that belonged to a different version of you. You were in a different place in life. The walls around you felt heavier. The air was thick with emotions you couldn't put into sentences. Your heart was restless. Your mind was tired. You sat down, or maybe you stood in prayer, or maybe you just whispered it into your pillow in the middle of the night. But you made that dua. You remember how your chest felt then, the way your voice cracked halfway through, the way tears escaped your eyes even when you didn't want to cry. You didn't finish the dua perfectly. You just stopped mid-sentence because the pain was heavier than the words. And maybe you thought that moment didn't matter, that your words were too broken, too messy, too small for Allah to pay attention to. But the angels were there. They didn't just hear you. They wrote it down, every word, every pause, every tear. They recorded the way your heart leaned toward Allah, and they carried that dua up to the one who never forgets. Time passed. New days came. Other challenges took over your mind. That old dua faded to the back of your memory. You moved on from it. But Allah didn't. He kept it. He protected it. He placed it in the perfect chapter of your qadr. Because not every dua is answered immediately. Some are planted deep and they take time to bloom. If He had given it to you that night, maybe it would have harmed you. Maybe you weren't ready for it. Maybe the people involved weren't ready for it. Maybe the road to it was still filled with obstacles you couldn't yet handle. So He didn't say no. He said, not yet. And when Allah says, not yet, it means the story isn't finished. It means He's arranging events behind the scenes. It means He's protecting both you and the blessing until the right moment arrives. Right now, you might not even realize that your life is being rearranged around that dua. Opportunities are being shifted, people are being moved, paths are being closed, and others are being opened, all so that one day that dua will arrive in a way you couldn't have imagined. Allah says, and your Lord says, call upon me, I will respond to you. 40, 60. He doesn't say when, He doesn't say how, but He promises, and Allah never breaks His promise. One day, and maybe that day is closer than you think, you'll be living your life and something will happen. It might be a conversation. It might be an opportunity. It might be a moment of relief after years of struggle. And in that instant, your heart will stop for a moment. Your eyes will widen, and you will remember, Ya Allah, this is what I prayed for. This is it. It will feel almost surreal, because you forgot the dua, but Allah didn't. You let go of it in your mind, but Allah kept it alive in His decree. And you will realize why He made you wait. Because the version of you who prayed that night wasn't the version of you who could handle it now. Back then, you might have lost yourself in it. Now, you will protect it and be grateful for it. You'll also see the mercy in the delays. The things you called disappointments were actually shields. The moments you thought were missed chances were actually Allah saying, this isn't the time yet. I'm preparing something better, and you'll notice something else. The answer you receive might not look exactly like what you pictured when you asked. It will be better. Better for your iman, better for your heart, better for your akira. Because Allah doesn't just give you what you ask for. He gives you what you would have asked for if you knew what He knows. Maybe you're still waiting tonight. Maybe there's a dua you haven't seen come to life yet. and maybe part of you thinks it's gone. It's not. It's alive in the unseen. It's moving toward you, slowly and perfectly. And when it arrives, you will thank Allah for every single moment of waiting. You will thank Him for not giving it to you sooner. You will realize the delay wasn't an absence, it was part of the gift. So tonight, before you sleep, remember this: your dua is never lost. Your dua is never ignored. And the dua you forgot is the dua. Allah remembers every single day. 5. The day no was a hidden yes. It's one of the hardest truths to swallow, that sometimes Allah's mercy is hidden in the very thing you begged Him to take away. You prayed for it to work. You planned your life around it. You told yourself, this is it. This is what I've been waiting for. You even convinced yourself that this was the answer to all your problems. And then, without warning, the door closed. The opportunity slipped through your fingers. The person you thought would stay walked away. The dream you held so tightly vanished. It felt like betrayal. It felt like loss. It felt like Allah's way of saying, you don't deserve this. But that's not what it was. It was Allah saying, my servant, I know what you don't. I see what you can't. When Allah says no, it is never out of cruelty. It is never to watch you suffer for no reason. It is always because He is protecting you from something you cannot yet understand. You saw the beauty of that door from where you were standing, but Allah saw what was behind it. He saw the cracks in the walls, the poison in the water, the shadows that would have crept into your life. Maybe the relationship you wanted so badly would have drained your soul day by day. Maybe the job you dreamed of would have slowly pulled you away from your prayers. Maybe the opportunity you chased would have tied your heart to people who would lead you further from Allah. And so, in His mercy, He closed it. Not with a soft, gentle push, but sometimes with a force so strong that you couldn't ignore it. Because He knew you wouldn't walk away unless He made it impossible to stay. It's painful, I know. It feels like being left out in the cold. It feels like being unseen. It feels like the world moved on without you. But every no from Allah is a yes in disguise. Yes to your protection. Yes to your peace. Yes to your future. Yes to a better path you haven't even imagined yet. The only reason it doesn't feel like a yes right now is because you're still standing in the hallway staring at the closed door. You haven't walked far enough to see the new one He's opening. And here's the truth: if Allah had said yes to everything you asked for in the past, you would be in places you've outgrown, with people who were never meant to stay, chasing dreams that would have left you empty. You think you wanted them, but you didn't want the pain they carried. You didn't want the heartbreak they would have brought. You didn't want the slow, quiet pull away from Allah that would have happened without you even noticing. So He stepped in. He didn't ask for your permission, because mercy doesn't wait for permission. He closed the door before you could walk through it. And yes, it broke your heart. Yes, it made you cry. Yes, it left you wondering if Allah even heard your prayers. But one day, you'll see the wisdom, because one day, you'll stand in a place Allah led you to, and you'll say, Ya Allah, now I understand. Thank you for not giving me what I thought I needed. Thank you for protecting me from what I was chasing. Thank you for every no you ever gave me. The Qur'an says, perhaps you hate a thing and it is good for you. And perhaps you love a thing and it is bad for you. Allah knows, while you do not know. 2:216. That verse is not just about patience. It's about trust. Trusting that Allah's no is not rejection. It's redirection. Sometimes better comes quickly. Sometimes better takes years. Sometimes better is not a thing at all, but a version of you that's stronger, wiser, closer to Allah than you ever thought possible. And here's the beauty. When the real blessing arrives, you'll realize it wasn't just about getting something better. It was about becoming someone better, because every no changed you. It softened you. It made you humble. It made you turn to Allah in ways you wouldn't have if life had gone the way you planned. So if you're here tonight, hurting because a door closed, please remember, Allah's no is always a yes to something better. You may not see it now. You may not see it for years. But the day will come when you'll be grateful that He loved you enough to stop you from walking into something that wasn't written for you. And on that day, you'll finally understand the no you cried over was the yes that saved you. 6. The rewrite happens in the dark. It's quiet tonight. Too quiet. The kind of quiet that feels heavy. The kind of stillness that makes you wonder if anything is moving at all. You've been praying. You've been hoping. You've been waiting. But the world around you feels the same. No sudden changes. No dramatic shifts. Just the same days passing by. And in your heart, a question keeps repeating. Why is nothing happening? But what you don't see is that destinies are rarely rewritten under bright lights. They are written in the hidden hours. They are shaped in spaces you cannot see. They are crafted in the quiet, in the dark. While you sleep, Allah is moving things you didn't even know needed to move. While you cry, He is softening hearts that will one day open the right doors for you. While you go about your day, He is rearranging circumstances so that your future will meet you at exactly the right moment. You can't see it yet, and that's the point. If Allah showed you everything He was doing for you right now, you might not understand it. You might even try to change it. You might cling to people He's trying to remove. You might run toward things He's protecting you from. So He hides the process. Not to keep you in the dark, but to protect the perfection of the plan. It's like planting a seed deep underground. From above the soil, nothing looks different. Days go by and it seems like the seed has done nothing. But in the dark, something is happening. Roots are growing deep. Strength is building quietly. Life is forming in complete silence. If you judged it too soon, you'd say, nothing is growing. But given enough time, that seed will break through the soil strong enough to survive the winds and storms ahead. That's what Allah is doing with your life right now. He is planting blessings that haven't yet broken the surface. He is giving you roots before He gives you wings. And yes, sometimes part of that process means loss, because rewriting your story often begins with erasing what no longer belongs in it. Sometimes Allah has to take away the pen you were using to write your own version of life. Not to leave you without a story, but to write one far better than the one you had in mind. That's why some people leave. That's why some plans fall apart. That's why some doors slam shut, because they don't belong in the chapter Allah is writing for you next. And it hurts deeply, because you don't just lose things in the dark. You lose the light you thought those things gave you. It feels empty. It feels lonely. It feels like a part of you is gone. But one day, you will look back and see that the dark was not the absence of light. It was the space where your life was being rebuilt. The dark is not punishment. The dark is where transformation happens. It's the space where Allah prepares you for blessings you wouldn't know how to handle right now. Think about the times you've gone through deep pain in the past. At the time, it felt like it would break you. But now, looking back, you see that those moments changed you in ways comfort never could. That's what's happening again right now. Except this time, it's happening so quietly, you can't feel the shift yet. Maybe Allah is building patience in you so you can hold on to a blessing when it comes. Maybe He's teaching you trust so you don't panic when the road curves unexpectedly. Maybe He's moving you away from something that would look good at first, but slowly drain you over years. You see, Allah's rewrites aren't just about giving you something new. They're about making you someone new. And that takes time. Time in silence. Time in spaces where you feel unseen. Time in nights where you go to sleep thinking nothing has changed, when, in reality, everything is changing. Some of the biggest shifts in your life will happen without you noticing at first. It will be one small conversation that leads to a new opportunity, one small change of habit that transforms your health, one small prayer made on a tired night that opens a door years later. You won't always see the moment the rewrite begins, but you will feel it when you step into the chapter it was preparing you for. And when that moment comes, you'll look back at these quiet, dark days differently. You'll say, "Ya Allah, you were writing my story here. You were moving things for me when I thought nothing was happening. You were building my future in silence." So if you're in that place right now, where the days all feel the same, where your prayers feel unanswered, where your life feels stuck, don't mistake stillness for absence, because while you can't see it, while you can't hear it, while you can't feel it, the pen of Allah is moving. Your story is being rewritten. And one day soon, you'll walk into a reality that was being built for you in the dark all along. And when that day comes, you will thank Allah for not rushing the process. You will thank Him for the stillness. You will thank Him for the dark. Because it was in that hidden space that He gave you the life you were always meant to have. 7. The ending you fear is the beginning you need. You can feel it, can't you? That ache in your chest, that heaviness in your heart, that awareness that something is ending and you can't stop it. You try to hold on, but it's slipping through your fingers. The people you thought would be with you forever are drifting away. The plans you were certain of are falling apart. The chapter you thought would last longer is closing, and everything in you wants to fight it, because endings feel like loss. They feel like failure. They feel like you're losing a part of yourself. You tell yourself, if I can just fix this, if I can just hold on a little longer, maybe I can keep it. But the more you try, the more it slips away, until you're left standing there, staring at the closing door, feeling like the story is over. But here's the truth your heart doesn't know yet. Allah never ends something in your life unless what's coming next is better for your soul. We fear endings because we can't see what's on the other side. We think what we're losing is the best we'll ever have. We think the life we planned is the only life worth living, but Allah sees the whole story. He sees the harm you couldn't see. He sees the weight you didn't realize you were carrying. He sees the chains you didn't even notice were wrapped around your heart. And so He ends it, not to hurt you, not to punish you, but to free you. It doesn't feel like freedom yet. It feels like heartbreak. It feels like standing in an empty room after everyone has left. It feels like walking into a morning you didn't ask for. But endings are Allah's way of clearing the space for something new. You can't step into the next chapter while your hands are still full of the last one. You can't receive what He's trying to give you if you're still clinging to what He's taken away. The Qur'an tells us, indeed, with hardship comes ease. 94:6. It doesn't say after hardship, it says with hardship, which means that the beginning you need is already tied to the ending you fear. They arrive together, you just can't see the ease yet, because the pain is blocking your view. Think back to times in your life when something ended and you thought, I'll never recover from this. But you did. And not only did you recover, you grew. You became someone stronger, wiser, more grounded. That's what Allah is doing again right now. Except this time, you're in the middle of it. So all you can see is the loss, not the growth. Maybe this ending is the only way Allah could pull you away from something that was shrinking your soul. Maybe this ending is the only way He could push you toward the place He's been preparing for you. Maybe this ending is the only way to make you stop depending on something temporary and start depending on Him completely. Because here's the secret. What you think is the end is actually the doorway. The door doesn't look like a door because it's painted with loss. But once you step through it, you'll see the new horizon waiting for you. You will meet people you never would have met if this ending didn't happen. You will find opportunities you never would have looked for if this ending didn't push you. You will discover strength in yourself that you never knew was there until this ending forced you to dig deeper. And one day, maybe not today, maybe not next month, but one day you will look back and say, that ending I was so afraid of was the beginning I was praying for without realizing it, because Allah answers your du'as in ways you don't always recognize at first. Sometimes you ask for strength, and He gives you an ending that forces you to grow strong. Sometimes you ask for guidance, and He gives you an ending that turns you in a new direction. Sometimes you ask for peace, and He gives you an ending that removes the very thing that was stealing your peace. It hurts now, I know. It feels like you've lost everything, but you haven't lost Allah. And if you have Him, you have everything you need to walk into the next chapter. So tonight, instead of begging for the ending to be undone, ask Allah to help you walk through it. Ask Him to show you the beginning hidden inside it. Ask Him to give you the eyes to see His mercy in the very thing that feels like loss. Because one day you will see it. One day you will understand. One day you will thank Him for closing this chapter, because it was the only way to open the one you truly needed. Sometimes the scariest thing about an ending is not the loss itself. It's the emptiness that follows. The days feel quieter. The hours stretch longer. You walk through your routines and everything feels the same, but also completely different, because a piece of your life is missing. It's not just the absence of a person or a plan. It's the absence of the you that existed in that chapter. And that's why it feels so strange, because endings don't just close doors outside of you. They close doors inside of you too. But what you don't realize is that endings are also a kind of mercy for your soul. They give you space to breathe without the weight you didn't know you were carrying. They give you a chance to hear your own heart again, without the noise of what you were trying to hold on to. It's in this emptiness that something powerful happens. Allah starts showing you pieces of yourself that got buried while you were trying to keep the last chapter alive. Old dreams resurface, new ideas form, and slowly you begin to see that you are more than the thing you lost. This is the beauty of Allah's plan. He doesn't just end chapters for the sake of change. He ends them to make room for things you would never think to ask for. Things that will not only fill the space, but will also fill you in ways you didn't know you needed. One day, when you're walking in that new chapter, you'll feel a quiet sense of recognition. Not because it looks like your old life, but because it feels like home. And you'll realize that the ending you feared so much was not a cliff that sent you falling. It was a bridge you couldn't see until you stepped onto it. A bridge that was carrying you here, all along. So if you're in that empty space right now, don't rush to fill it. Sit with it. Let Allah show you what He's building in the silence, because that stillness is not your life ending. It's your life beginning in a way you've never experienced before. There's something nobody tells you about endings. They don't just take away what you love. They take away the version of yourself that existed in that season. The routines you built, the thoughts you woke up with, the reasons you smiled, all of it shifts. It's like walking into a house you once lived in, but now it's empty. The walls are still there, the windows still let in light, but the laughter is gone, the warmth is gone, the life you knew is gone. And you stand there, looking at the space, wondering how you'll ever fill it again. But here's the thing, that empty room isn't meant to be filled the same way. It's meant to be redesigned, rebuilt, transformed into something that suits the person you're becoming, not the person you were. Because endings don't happen to punish you, they happen to evolve you. They are Allah's way of saying, you've outgrown this chapter. It's time for me to take you somewhere your old self could never survive. And sometimes, you won't recognize the blessing in that moment. You'll want to go back. You'll want the familiarity, even if it was heavy, because the heart clings to what it knows. even if what it knows was slowly draining it. That's why Allah closes the door fully, so you can't slip back in when the nights feel too quiet. So you can't run to what He has already rescued you from. The ending is a shield, a protection, a mercy wrapped in discomfort. You may think you've lost stability, but what you've lost is a prison disguised as comfort. You may think you've lost love, but what you've lost is attachment to someone or something that couldn't hold your soul safely. You may think you've lost purpose, but what you've lost is a routine that was keeping you too small for the calling Allah has placed on your life. And here's the miracle. The moment you stop fighting the ending, you start seeing the openings. Small at first, like a thin beam of light slipping through a crack in the door, then bigger until you realize the entire wall has fallen and the horizon is wide open. You begin to see people who inspire you, opportunities that match your growth, moments of peace you didn't even know you were craving, and you realize the beginning you needed was waiting on the other side of the ending you feared. When Allah says in the Qur'an, "Perhaps you hate a thing, and it is good for you." 2:216. This is what it means. The thing you thought would break you was actually the thing that set you free. So don't rush to rebuild your life the way it was before. It wasn't meant to survive this long for a reason. Instead, ask Allah to rebuild you, because when you are rebuilt, your life will follow. And one day, when you are living in the ease He promised after hardship, you'll look back on this moment with a strange sense of gratitude. Not because it was easy, not because it didn't hurt, but because you'll see this ending was the single most important beginning of your life. 8. The night you'll thank Allah for forever. One day, you will look back on this exact night, and you will realize it was the night Allah changed everything. Not the night you got the thing you thought you wanted, not the night you saw the answer with your eyes, but the night Allah quietly removed what would have broken you in the long run. It might not feel like it now, right now. It might just feel like loss. It might feel like you've been left behind. It might feel like Allah is silent. But this night, this exact night, is going to be the one you thank Him for every single day of your life from the moment you understand it. Because while you're sitting here thinking nothing has moved, in the unseen, everything has shifted. The angels have been commanded. The path has been redrawn. The harm you couldn't see has been erased from your future. Sometimes Allah answers you not by giving, but by removing. Sometimes He gives you peace, not by adding something new, but by taking away the thing that has been quietly stealing your peace for years. This night might feel heavy. It might feel endless, but it is the night where Allah has decided, "My servant will not carry this burden any longer. My servant will be free of this." You won't always recognize this night when you're in it. It won't have fireworks or obvious signs. It might look like any other night from the outside. You might be lying in bed, scrolling through your phone, or sitting alone in your room, thinking about how life turned out this way, or standing in prayer, not even realizing the angels are recording the dua that will shift your entire destiny. You might even be crying right now, not knowing that your tears are washing away the final traces of a chapter Allah has already closed. And then, days will pass, weeks will pass, months might even pass, and suddenly you'll realize you've stopped hurting in the same way. You've stopped looking back as much. You've started to breathe differently, as if the air itself has become lighter. That's when it will hit you. Allah removed it. The weight, the person, the situation, the constant noise in your heart, it's gone. And you'll realize this freedom began on a night you didn't even know was holy for you. A night Allah chose to intervene on your behalf. A night where, without your awareness, He said, "Enough. This ends here. My servant will be protected from this." You'll carry that night in your memory forever. Not because you felt it at the time, but because of what it gave you afterwards. Years from now, you will tell your story, and when you get to this part, you'll feel your voice soften, because you'll know this was the turning point. The moment Allah's mercy touched your life in a way you could never have planned. You'll speak of it with a smile. Not the smile of someone who never cried, but the smile of someone who cried and then saw why it was worth it. And you'll thank Allah, not just for what He gave after, but for exactly how He removed what He removed, for exactly how He timed it, for exactly how He rewrote the rest of your story starting from here. Because you'll see it clearly then. If this night had gone differently, you might still be stuck in the place that was killing your soul slowly. You might still be chasing the thing that would have taken you away from Him. You might still be living a life that looked fine on the outside but felt empty inside. Instead, Allah pulled you out. And not just pulled you out, He pulled you up. He placed you on a path you didn't even know existed, a path that led to peace you didn't even know you could feel. So yes, one day you will thank Allah for this night. You will thank Him for the tears. You will thank Him for the silence. You will thank Him for the ending you didn't want but needed. And you will thank Him for loving you enough to say, not this, not here, not anymore. This night will be your proof that Allah never abandons His servant. It will be the reminder you carry into every future trial. And every time you think you can't survive something new, you'll look back and remember, I've been here before. Allah carried me then. He'll carry me again. What if you didn't have to wait years to thank Allah for this night? What if you could thank Him now? Before you see the full picture, before you understand the reason, before the blessing has even arrived. Because gratitude is not only for when you hold the gift in your hands, it's for when you trust the giver, even with empty hands. If you only thank Allah when you see the outcome, you're thanking Him for the result. But when you thank Him before the result, you're thanking Him for His wisdom. And that's a different kind of worship. It's the worship of surrender, the worship of trust, the worship of saying, Ya Allah, I don't understand this, but I know You, and that's enough for me to say Alhamdulillah right now. Because maybe this night isn't just the night Allah removes something. Maybe it's the night Allah teaches you how to trust Him deeper than you ever have before. Maybe it's the night He opens your heart to see His mercy, even in what feels like loss. Maybe it's the night you stop asking, why me? And start saying, guide me. And here's the beautiful thing. When you choose gratitude in the dark, you are planting seeds for light you haven't seen yet. Every Alhamdulillah you whisper through tears is a brick in the path Allah is building toward your future. You will walk on that path one day. And when you do, you'll realize you've been walking on your own gratitude. You'll remember that this peace you feel now was built from the patience and praise you gave when nothing made sense. So tonight, before you see the reason, before the story unfolds, say it anyway. Alhamdulillah for this night, for what you removed, for what you are bringing, for what I don't yet see. Because this night, the one you might think is empty, is already full of mercy, full of angels recording your trust, full of a future you will thank Allah for forever. One day, you'll look back on this moment and smile through the tears, because you'll see that the ending you begged Allah to stop was the very beginning you needed to live. And when that day comes, you will thank Him for loving you enough to close the door you could not close yourself. May Allah guide us all and keep our hearts steadfast. Ameen.